Hi, and welcome to Self Care Black Girls, a podcast where we relax, sip tea, and chat about bettering ourselves as black girls. I'm BB, and I'll be helping guide you to make better choices in your daily lives. So, welcome back, everybody. I know in a previous episode I mentioned that I wanted to incorporate uh, more tea options, per week, a different tea per week. But sadly, this week I don't have a tea, so we're just gonna wing it. I do have water though, so ladies, don't forget. Everybody should be drinking water, especially now. It's hot, um, and you need to flush your body out. So make sure you're drinking your water. On to the episode. Today's episode will be all about ways to stay on top of your priorities, and if they aren't priorities, just ways to stay on top of things that you have to get done in a certain time frame. So I have about six tips that I could give you about staying on top of your to-do list. There we go. Staying on top of things. The first one that I want to talk about is not waiting to the last minute. And I guess this also ties into the second one, but I still meant it two separate bullets. Don't wait until the last minute to do something, especially if it's like a big project or something that you've known about for a long time. Like, say, for instance, with academics, say you got the syllabus and you knew you had this really big paper due at the end of the semester, but you wait until 3 weeks before it's due to start it. Don't do that. Been there, done that, didn't turn out great. Don't do that. So don't wait until the last minute to do something that you've known about for a while, or maybe it's something you haven't known about that long. Don't wait until the last minute, because you never know. You may have questions, and sometimes whoever you're submitting this piece of work to won't allow questions and won't be answering questions closer to the deadline. So it's a good idea to start on time and not wait until 2 to 3 days or weeks before it's due. And that goes into the second one, not the second tip, to not procrastinate. Don't, and I guess now I see why I put these as two separate bullets. Don't push something back because you think you know how to do it. And it may be the case. Maybe you do know how to do it, and you'd rather spend your current time doing something completely different. That's fine, but don't do it all the time, and don't do it with something that could make or break your career or your academics or anything that major. Don't push it back, because once again, been there, done that, didn't turn out great. Speaking truly from experience. So don't push the task back. Don't procrastinate. Get it done. That way you don't have to worry about it as the due date approaches, closer to that time starts to come up on you. The next tip that I have is to keep tabs on what you've accomplished. I know this seems kind of like a side thing that doesn't really have much to do with staying on top of what you have to get done or what you should be getting done, but it does help if you keep, and maybe not a running list, but instead of, if you use your whiteboard to write your to-do list on, instead of erasing it after you've finished it, mark it off, draw a little line through it. That way you can see that even if you feel like you're having an unproductive day, you can look back at it and see, well, I got this, and this done, even though I didn't get that done. That way you won't feel overwhelmed and that you didn't get anything done and that you weren't staying on top of everything that you had to get done. So, keep a tab on what you've gotten done so you can see what you've gotten done compared to what you haven't done and feel a little bit better about yourself. The next tip that I have is to tell someone what you have to do. Now, this only applies if the things on your to-do list aren't too personal, some things you may not want to discuss with other people, and that's fine. Tell but tell somebody if whatever it is isn't too personal, like a homework assignment or something. Tell somebody, and then so they can remind you. And this isn't to say give somebody else the responsibility of keeping up with you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying tell somebody else, so when you guys are having casual conversation, they can be like, oh, well, hey, remember you told me to keep tabs on this. Have you done it? Where are you? Just through casual conversation, they can bring it up and ask you if you've, worked on it or something like that. It's always good to have the extra accountability. So if you do forget or are procrastinating or you're waiting to the last minute to do it, you'll have somebody, under you that you trust and know pushing you to go ahead and get it done, to stop procrastinating and, give you that little push that you may need to get it done. The next tip that I have for you all is to don't overbook yourself. And what I mean by this is going back to my whiteboard reference. If you do your you do your to-do list on a whiteboard, don't try to fill up the whole entire whiteboard with things that you have to get done and say that you have to get it done today. Because now you're like, oh, well, I got to get this done. And you're going to be like, oh, well, I can cut corners on, I can cut corners on this. I can cut corners on that. And then the work that you're producing isn't up to your full potential. Don't tell yourself that you have more to get done just so you can feel accomplished. Break your to-do list down on what are priorities. And if you don't want to do it by priority, you can do it by what are the smaller tasks or what are the bigger tasks that you're going to need to spend more time with, or find a system that works best for you. So you don't put too much on your plate and try to eat all of it, and then you're stuck with stuff that's either not getting done or that you're just picking off of and not really paying attention to what you're doing with it. So yeah, don't overbook yourself. And the last tip that I have is to stay calm. Do not overwhelm yourself. Do not, like I said, fill the whiteboard out and then look at it and get frustrated, get overwhelmed, because now you're about to enter the procrastination stage. You're like, oh, well, I have all this to do and I really don't feel like doing it. Or, oh, well, this can be done later and that can be done later. Oh, maybe this can be. See, you're starting to procrastinate and that's not good. You need to relax, take a deep breath, look at the whiteboard, pick out things that aren't going to cause you stress, that isn't going to get your blood pumping, that, will keep your blood pressure at a low, because, we don't want that, want you to have a stroke or a heart attack or anything. Remain calm, look at the list. If it's too much right now, go do something and come back and look at it again, and just pick some small, low stress things off of it so you can, remain calm and keep your composure and aren't stressed, frustrated, frazzled, procrastinating. So yeah, those are the tips that I have for you all this week on staying on top of things. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on my Instagram at selfcareblackgirls, or you can email me at selfcarebgirl@gmail.com. Like I said, that's all that I have for you all this week, and I will see you all next week. Bye. Thanks for listening this week. If you have any questions, want to share a story, or be featured in our Q&As, send them to me at selfcarebgirl@gmail.com, or submit them on my blog at selfcareblackgirls.com. While you're over there, subscribe and join so you never miss anything. Subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes to help spread the word. You can also donate one time or monthly by clicking on the Patreon link on my blog. There are rewards. Thanks again for listening, and don't forget to stay beautiful.